The City Double Cash Card presents Tips for Working Out. Number 4, don't back down.
I'm going to increase my speed to see if you can keep up.
Running through pain to try to impress you.
Okay.
I'm barely keeping up.
Wouldn't it be great if everyone said what they meant? The City Double Cash Card does. It lets you earn double cash back with 1% when you buy and 1% as you pay. The City Double Cash Card. Double means double.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Aaron Rodgers has 12 free play TDs since 2008. Is there anything across sports that you can think of that's quite like that in terms of a hidden value that only one person in a sport is able to manipulate? Touchdowns are tough to come by. Cincinnati didn't have one of those. He's got 12 free play touchdowns where the moment he releases the ball, he knows there are no bad consequences that come of it. So that's found money. 12 free play touchdowns. I'm trying to think of anywhere else in sports. Do you have a guy taking advantage of a situation where he's the only one who can really do it? Because I couldn't think of one off of the top of my head.
Draymond Green kicking people and not getting punished.
Well, actually, you know what? No, but James Harden getting fouled on 3-pointers is another one.
That's a great one.
James, yes. The way that James Harden, fake, that is an excellent one. James Harden has found value. He's the one who does it more than. But there are teams in the league that haven't gotten as many foul calls on 3-pointers as James Harden has. But keep sending them if you got them. If you got any others like that, once again, and help me navigate this, people, because I know that many of you are tired of race talk. And you know that if you listen to this show, that I always love when sports become the funhouse mirror where society goes to check its reflection. And as much as we want to get out of the race conversation here in this escaping free space, it keeps leaking into it in various ways. Last night at the Red Sox game, there was a sheet unfurled over the Green Monster. It's really the place that you could put it anywhere in sports where it's most likely to be seen, right? The Green Monster. Yes. If you're trying to get a message out in sports, that's the place to put it. And somebody held up a banner reading "Racism is as American as baseball." And it lasted one batter, and then the people were kicked out. And this is the symbolic tension that we have. It keeps creeping into sports, and sports keeps trying to kick it out. But I'm going to address this one time today because many of you are asking me, and we did it yesterday, and everyone loves accusing ESPN commentators of cowardice. So the Jamel Hill thing is something that I'm only going to address right here, right now, one time. And call me a company man if you want. But here is the predicament in 2017 when it comes to some of these issues for this company that I'm assuming doesn't want any part of any of these issues because they're uncomfortable and we're in the sports business and it's just easier to stay in the sports business than to have these uncomfortable things leak into sports. But Jamel Hill is a commentator for ESPN. She's one of their highest profile commentators. She was on Twitter. She had a back and forth with somebody, and she said that the president of the United States was a white supremacist, and then the White House called for her firing. So those are the facts of where we are, and this is the impossible position that the company is in. If you don't fire her, you're going easy on her, and it's because you're liberal. If you do what the company did, which is talk to her, many people believe that's too much, and she doesn't deserve even a talking to, not even a conversation. And in the gulf between those two things is where you have your problem, because ESPN can't win in that circumstance, when the choices are, if you don't fire her, that's enough, but if you even talk to her, that's too much, because of the division. ESPN doesn't want to in on this, man. That's why ESPN is like, leave us out of this. And it's why we're not sitting here talking politics all the time. I like talking about race. They hired me knowing that I like talking about race. I'm going to continue talking about race, but it gets hijacked and now has become a political conversation more than it ever has been. And the easiest route for the company to take is to not want us talking about any of this stuff. And if you've ever heard me talk about race relations before, I think there's a cowardice in sitting some of these conversations out. I don't want to sit them out, but I understand why the company doesn't want all of us yammering about this. I get it. And, I'm mortified when I see what's the divisions in this country that aren't rectifiable. There isn't any healing, that people have taken their sides and are more entrenched than they've ever been. And I just look at it baffled a lot of the times and hurt a lot of the times, because I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, man, when it comes to equality, why are we fighting about that? Like, that's not something we should be fighting about. That seems to be something that should have consensus in it. But nope, we're all fighting, and there ain't no healing being done here. And the conversation, you know how everybody loves to pat themselves on the back with, well, it's good that we're talking about it. It's not good that we're talking about it. I don't see that anything good. People are just
fighting about it.
I don't see the healing in it. It's not like there are fence sitters coming to a side on this. It's people becoming more and more entrenched in their positions until you get the White House over here and a sports commentator over there, and they're both on the extremes, and the gulf can't be bridged.
Right.
And what's in the middle of it? The company that's sitting here looking at it and saying, well, what are we supposed to do? Because I happen to know what the president of this company stands for, man. And he has done good, important work on behalf of diversity. This company is more diverse than it's ever been. And by the way, many of you listening, diversity is not a pejorative word. It's good to be diverse and have different perspectives. Diversity has there are certain terms that are benign that have now been turned into pejorative words: snowflake, social justice. And this is now one of them. Diversity is now one of them. The president of this company, look at how different ESPN radio sounds. When we got here, the faces were all Cowherd, Van Pelt, Russillo, Mike, and Mike. It was really white. And that's not bad. That's just the only perspective that you were getting. And now listen to ESPN radio. All over it. I know what this president's about, man. It's wrong what he's getting hit with.
Yeah, but he's going to get hit with. I mean, Dan, when there's a press release and you announce that you have spoken to Jamel Hill, like, you've put yourself into the story, right?
No, but Stugotz, the issue is that they want us to avoid inflammatory political talk. I cannot blame them for that. It's not my preference, but how can I blame them for that? Because then you've got to allow. Why the hell would you want the White House snooping? Why would you want the White House calling for the firing of one of your sports commentators on something that wasn't a sports opinion?
Right. Of course you wouldn't want that. No one wants that.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right.
ESPN just wants out of that game, and I want in that game, right? I want in that game. I admire Jamel Hill so much, man. So much I admire Jamel Hill. Bomani Jones was quoted. There was a good piece in The Ringer on her saying she's got it worse than any of us. Black woman, what she gets hit with in this world is really bad. And I support her. That's my friend. I support her work. But I don't want to be in positions where I'm sitting here looking like I'm creating a mutiny against the president of this company and by supporting a colleague on something when I know what the president of this company stands for. And I know what he's trying to achieve. And it's not nefarious. It is good and it is pure. He's trying. Man, he started the Undefeated. He didn't have to do that. He just started a website so that there would be a space. That's not a place where there is going to be a monster profit for this company. And he started that because he thought of the importance of it. And he hired a conservative, Jason Whitlock, to run it, and it got botched. But it wasn't because the intent wasn't pure. And now it's something else. But So anyways, I just don't know what you do. Never mind the sides being taken on this. If I just put it in front of you and I say, what are you supposed to do with the Gulf? When black people are saying you can't even talk to Jemele Hill about that. Leave her alone. Look at what's happening in this country. The president is behaving with some actions that a lot of people are questioning along racial lines. And you're saying, leave her alone. And I'm like, yep, I get it. And then on the other side, you're saying, man, if you're going to discipline other people on this stuff, you got to be consistent and fire Jemele Hill. That feels unreasonable to me, the way that we're always firing people about this stuff. But if that's the Gulf, you got to fire her. You can't even talk to her. What are you supposed to do?
I'll tell you what I do. I read SportsCenter Update.
Dan Le Batard.
I mean, Stugotz is the physical manifestation of the comment section come to life. Do you agree with that assessment that you are a comment section come to life?
100%.
It's, I wouldn't take such pride in that.
I do.
Stugotz.
But I want you to imagine Stugotz rising up from the gutter. Like what you're looking at right now is a gutter, only a gutter. And now it starts as a face and the mouth gets bigger and it just keeps growing and then just shouts rings.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Can you guys help me out here? Because I, too, would like to do a light and fun show, and we could get into the conversation that you guys were having off air about whether you should sign Vin Diesel to a 10-day contract because Tim Tebow in the minor league seems to have worked well as a business venture. You guys were talking off air about whether you would just allow, some actor with a baseball fantasy to play center field for you for a little while because the Tim Tebow experiment has worked as a business move.
He's got a tiny salary, Tim Tebow does, soaring attendance for the Mets minor league affiliates. It's the biggest hit in minor league baseball since Michael Jordan all the way back in 1994. So we were just debating whether or not, why aren't other minor league teams doing this? He's a sideshow, right? People are just showing up to see Tim Tebow. Why not? If Vin Diesel wants a 10-day contract on a minor league team, I wouldn't go watch, but I feel like people would.
All right, well, hold on a second. Before we go down this path, though, this is not what I was asking you help with.
Oh.
I understand that that's your wheelhouse, and you are ready to go on Vin Diesel minor league experiment. What I want your help on is this. The reaction, of course, to that first segment was bad. It was bad from everywhere. Everyone reacting poorly about everything. People asking me to not go there and people telling me to go there more. So be outraged or just shut up, and that's where we are. But I really want to know what the hell I'm supposed to do here, because it feels like in 2017 Pandora's box, where politics has become pop culture, where more than ever right now, some of this stuff is simply unavoidable. It's not avoidable. If you're at the Red Sox game yesterday, it's on Fenway's wall. If you're interested in ESPN, the White House is feuding with Jemele Hill, asking for her to be fired. It's not avoidable. And you guys want me to keep ignoring it. And what I keep wondering is, haven't we been ignoring it long enough? Which is how it is that the sheet ends up draped over Fenway Park, because it can't be ignored anymore. And so there was an article I read, I think it was in the New Yorker. The New Yorker, let me check this out real quick because, we tend to fly by the seat of our pants. In fact, while I'm checking this out, Stugotz, go ahead and talk about Vin Diesel and your minor league
I'd sign
experiment.
Johnny Depp.
Whoa. See, now we're getting somewhere. Johnny Depp on are we doing a 10-day contract? Because Tim Tebow has been in the minors all season and attendance is up 38%. They're making tons of money.
Okay, so let's sign somebody to a full season, but they have to be available.
Right.
That's a big one. So you need to find the right person that can do it and would want to do it.
Like Mike said, The Rock, but I don't think he'd have the time to dedicate to that. And I don't know if I'd see The Rock. I'd see Vin Diesel, but not The Rock.
The Rock has the time for it. He's like doing ballers in his lunch hour. Like, The Rock has time. What are you talking about?
He has time to sign a minor league baseball contract? I mean, that's an every night commitment.
He seems very busy. Like, him and Kevin Hart seem very busy.
I guess he can pull it off where he signs it and shows up when he feels like showing up.
But you need to let people know, okay, how about this? You sign him, but on the schedule, you say, you highlight in a different color, rock game,
right.
rock game.
Maybe one day a week.
Yeah.
All right, from the New Yorker, Ian Crouch. ESPN can't win in Trump's rowdy America. Oh. Are you guys ready for a segment I like to call Reading?
I guess.
All right, I tell you what. Let's do it this way.
No, just read.
Let's do it this way.
Are we throwing names while you read?
Yes, I will read. I'll read a sentence.
Not even fun anymore. All right, but we'll try. We'll throw some names.
Can you read let's see.
I got Spicer playing second base.
I'll admit to a fondness for the old song for Monday Night Football by Hank Williams Jr., which opened broadcast between 1989 and 2011. When Hank would howl, "Are you ready for some football?" the answer was always an enthusiastic yes. This was back when the prospect of watching a bunch of big and fast guys crack heads seemed like an innocent pleasure and not the obvious moral morass that it is today.
Keanu Reeves, pitcher.
Oh, you can't get him. No. He's not available.
No. But times changed, and specifically they changed for Williams, who in 2011 was dumped from the Monday Night Football broadcast after he went on Fox News and called Democrats the enemy and illustrated his point by comparing the sight of President Obama playing golf with John Boehner to seeing Hitler playing golf.
I believe it's Boehner.
Boehner. Okay, thank you.
That's a fun.
An unfortunate one.
Thank God this is over.
Did I call him John Boehner? I did call him John Boehner. Damn it. I didn't do
Was that like a mixture of John Bones Jones?
I don't know what happened there, and I'm deeply sorry that happened. Zebra pens and pencils are strong yet lightweight. You won't have to worry about breakage, and you'll have one of the best writing utensils on the market. Tell them, Stugotz.
Yep, we love Zebra pens. Everyone loves Zebra pens. Hold the one right now. They're great pens, man. Solid pens, and we appreciate their support. They sponsor this show. They're a great company, great people. We've met all of them, and their product is exceptional. And they sponsor our favorite segment, your favorite segment, the Ron McGill segment, every single week. So keep taking pictures of yourself buying Zebra pens and send them to me on Twitter at Stugotz790. A Zebra Steel pen feels good the second you pick it up, guys. It does. Trust me. We all love these pens around here. No one loves them more than Allison Turner. She introduced us all to Zebra pens and pencils, and they are fantastic. My kids love them as well. Pick up your Zebra Steel pens at Walgreens and other fine retailers. Now you found Zen in your pen, and it's tough as steel.
And then, as they do, the times changed back. On Monday night, Williams returned to MNF, performing his signature song alongside the crossover country group Florida Georgia Line and the pop star Jason Derulo. The song has been tweaked several times through the years to suit various musical moments, but this version was a special kind of Frankenstein's monster. Williams' original blues rock combined with a modern country, EDM, and a lot of auto-tune. The song was greeted with jeers, not simply because it sounded ridiculous, but because, for many viewers, that sound was inseparable from what they saw as a series of bad decisions by ESPN, which recently has become, largely against its will, a central player in the pervasive culture war of Trump's America.
Kevin Costner, he'd do it for free.
People on the left hated the song because it had too much Hank Jr. Bringing him back seemed like a form of appeasement by ESPN to the nostalgia of conservative viewers who have accused the network of perpetuating a liberal bias.
50 Cent.
Oh, ho, ho.
People on the right, meanwhile, hated the song because it didn't have enough Hank Jr. His roughneck Southern pride, blue-collar voice has been marginalized in the new song, giving way to slick, modern beats.
I can't think of another one right now.
Everyone else hated the song because, well, it's a mess, but it's a particular kind of mess and one that tracks with some of the issues plaguing ESPN. The network has lost more than 12 million cable subscribers since 2011. In April, it laid off roughly 100 employees. 2 years after, it laid off more than 300. There are two basic explanations for this retrenchment. One, based in fact, points to a decline in the number of cable subscribers in the United States and thus a decline in the number of people who pay through their cable packages for ESPN. The other, based on alt-right fairy dust and angry tweets, suggests that ESPN is losing viewers because of the network's sinister, coordinated shift to the left, which has been driving away conservative and moderate viewers.
Josh Hartnett, he's available.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. And dreamy.
Critics on the right don't have the numbers to prove this, but they had plenty of prominent examples of ESPN's so-called liberal bias. The celebration of Caitlyn Jenner, the firing of the former ace-turned-conservative firebrand Kurt Schilling, the positive coverage of the national anthem protest by Colin Kaepernick and other NFL players, the prominence of younger, progressive on-air talent, including Bomani Jones, Dan Le Batard, Jamel Hill, and Michael Smith. I'm sorry, I'm just noticing that your name's not in here. In these criticisms, there is often an unfortunate and reflexive conflation of liberal with simple diversity, a seeming discomfort with the new reality that the people talking about sports on TV look, finally, like the athletes who play those sports.
OJ.
Wow.
Third base.
I mean, come on.
Winner. Dan Le Batard.
Do you refer to the yellow sauce at a hibachi restaurant as yum yum sauce? 57% of the audience said no.
Stugotz.
Do you go ginger, 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 yum yum, yum yum, yum yum, yum yum, yum yum, or yum yum, yum yum, yum yum, yum yum? 38% of the audience said yum yum, yum yum, yum yum. So they get 3 yum yum sauces. They ditch the ginger, get 2 yum yums with an additional yum yum. Second place was ginger yum yum. That Chris said earlier, no one goes ginger ginger. 18% of the audience goes ginger ginger. And 18% of the audience also goes yum 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 yum. How about that?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Week 2 in the NFL kicks off tonight. Texans and Bengals, both teams off to an 0-1 start. Kickoff from Cincinnati is set for 8:25 p.m. Eastern. The Cleveland Indians go for their 22nd consecutive win tonight. They open up a 4-game set with the Royals, 7:10 first pitch from Cleveland. And finally, Empire reports that Nicolas Cage will star in an action thriller called Primal. The film will see Cage star as a legendary big game tracker that works to capture exotic animals for zoos, who is sailing on a Greek shipping freighter with his latest haul of animals, including a rare white jaguar from the Amazon. However, trouble strikes when a political assassin that's being extradited on the very same freighter escapes and releases the animals. Think snakes on a plane, but more like zoo on a boat. SportsCenter is brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, hurry in for men's wardrobe sales going on right now. You can save 50% on select suit separates, sport coats, dress pants, and more, including big and tall. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Will you watch a Nicolas Cage movie no matter what? Because Mike Ryan's in on that. All of that sounded awful. All of it to me. But so I know that I'm in the minority on this.
Sometimes you watch because you hope that it's going to be good. You know that it's probably not. You go in with low expectations, but you also want to see just how bad it could be with Nicolas Cage. So, yes, I am with Mike Ryan on this. I will see anything that Nick Cage puts out.
There's no way this is bad. There's a rare white jaguar from the Amazon.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Dan. If you have snakes on a plane, you can land at any airport. If you're in the middle of the ocean on a boat, what are you going to do? Where do you go?
Okay, so nobody's with me on this. All of you are going to go to the theaters to see this Nick Cage monstrosity.
I'm saying I'm going to the theater to see it, but eventually I will see it.
I'm not sure you'll have the option to go to the theater.
Straight to pay-per-view?
I mean, no, wait a minute. I disagree with your premise. I think that once you're in on Nick Cage exotic animals, that's got to see a theater. Your budget's too big. Like, once we're there, that can't go. Nick, wait a minute. Wait. Is there such a thing as huge movie star straight to video?
Yes.
I think it's happened.
Yes.
Like, where you have to give. There is such a thing as giving the movie star $15 million or $20 million and then that never getting into a theater?
I think Mike would know better, but sometimes they give that kind of money to big stars, big movie stars, and it appears in the theaters and on pay-per-view at the exact same time. You're saying exclusively to pay-per-view?
Well,
yeah.
That's not really a theatrical release then, because they're just doing that to appease the stars and the people that made it because it's a limited release. Netflix has sort of changed the math on this because technically Brad Pitt just had a straight to DVD release, but it was just straight to Netflix, so you had their budget and people thought it was good. I saw the movie, it wasn't good.
How does this work with you, Mike? Would Nicolas Cage be somebody, if I told you right now, hey, you're not going to believe this, but up in Melbourne, the Marlins have signed to their minor league affiliate, Nicolas Cage.
I'm moving to Melbourne.
Kidding me?
I'm moving, yes.
I'm already there.
I'm buying a block of tickets however long this takes.
Okay.
I mean, who wouldn't go see that? You'd go see that.
Well,
there'd be enough intrigue where you would drive to Melbourne.
No.
Oh, come on.
Yes, I would.
To see Nick Cage play baseball?
There would be enough national intrigue that Bob Costas is going to be calling this game.
Stay at my house for the night.
You love him.
Who else is like Nicolas Cage? If I go all in, let's say we're playing a card game, and I'm going all in, and I've got a pair of Nicolas Cages, and this is the game that we're playing. Actor or actress that you will go to see at the theater because of the potential of it might be great and it might be awful, but either way, I'm okay with it. Can anyone beat a couple of Nicolas Cages?
Wow. Christopher Walken maybe in his heyday.
Yeah, Stallone, perhaps.
I'll skip out on a lot of Stallone.
Will you really?
Yeah, I'll skip out. Yeah. It's got to be a good plot for me to follow Stallone. I will follow Nicolas Cage.
Is Nicolas Cage he is the standard bearer on this particular
of the earth? I will follow him.
Well, let me ask you this.
I saw Left Behind.
Okay, but hold on, Mike. Which one makes you happier? If it's dreadful or if it's great? Which one? No, you got to pick one.
Ooh, okay.
I know what I'm picking.
Okay, I can't cop out. I'm not going to say the cop out both because I've seen Snake Eyes and I enjoyed it because Nicolas Cage was in it. But that movie was terrible.
It's as bad a movie as ever been made.
It's the worst Nicolas Cage movie I've ever seen.
What's a good one?
I've seen them all.
National Treasure was good.
National Treasure surprisingly
Raising
good.
Arizona was good, although that's not really a Nicolas Cage movie.
The Wicker Man is a terrible movie, but it is amazing solely because of Nicolas Cage's performance.
It's one of my favorite movies for all the wrong reasons.
Joy, Snake Eyes or whatever is on the high end of Nicolas Cage.
Whatever's on the high end. But I enjoy the terrible movie more solely because Nicolas Cage being in it. Then I'm like, okay, this is not terrible. It could be worse.
Can you do me a favor? I sent you the other day something from Slate, a trailer of Face Off, one of these honest trailer things where the movie voice gives an honest trailer on a movie. Can you find the one for Face Off, please? I want to play it next, where the movie voice gives you the plot of Face Off while giving you the video from Face Off. This is going to be, this has the potential to be Nick Cage-like radio next. This might be great, or it might be awful. I don't know. We're going to find out together next.
Dan Le Batard.
And finally, 3-time Oscar winner Daniel Day-Lewis has retired from acting. Good.
Why good?
Who cares about Daniel Day-Lewis? Takes himself way too seriously. I'm tired of him. The actor's actor. Please, get so deep inside the role. Please, Daniel Day-Lewis. Go away. See how empty your life is without acting. Have fun. Enjoy it.
Stugotz.
The last good thing he's done. Go ahead, name it. I dare you. Go ahead, Lincoln.
There Will Be Blood?
Oh, yeah, that was good. That was back in 2007, though. What have you done for me lately?
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
The number of people writing us with the take that racism is mythical, that it doesn't exist, is just bizarro to me, man. I don't know how it is that I keep managing to get surprised by this. Like, we are talking about race issues like we talk about paranormal activity. You know, like a person comes over and offers you, hey, I've been the subject of racist behavior. It's like, prove it. I don't believe you. You're talking about Bigfoot or Chupacabra. And I've seen the ratings on those paranormal shows. Like, you watch those.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're willing to believe in the idea. I've also seen the Rodney King video. Like, I thought we were stopping with the whole, we're denying that this exists thing.
People want proof even though it's on their television every single day.
Man, it's a combination of denying it and ignoring it. Okay. Let's get back to what we were talking about. I unfortunately do not have the sound for you. We could not get it cleared in the last 5 minutes. Hopefully in the next couple of days we will. But look it up on the internet if you like. It is Face Off Real Movie Trailer, Real Truth Movie Trailer, where the guy with the movie voice is showing you in his voice how ridiculous Face Off was.
We'll tweet it out from @LeBatard Show on Twitter. @LeBatard
Show is where you go and check it out. Did you see, Stugotz, what Tom Savage's agent did and said?
He said something to the effect of 13 throws, not enough time for my guy. If you're going to start him and play him a quarterback, did he say something to that effect, that you didn't give him enough time to prove himself, which I happen to agree with? Like, that's ridiculous. If you're Bill O'Brien and you had all offseason to prepare and you drafted Deshaun Watson, when you announce Savage as your starter, at least give him a game or two. 13 throws and one half of football, not enough.
Here are the quotes from the agent of Tom Savage. His name is Neil Schwartz. You do not usually see quotes like this after week 1. The Texans play tonight against the Bengals on Thursday Night Football, which is fundamentally immoral. Quote, I'm still trying to figure this out. 31 plays and you're getting benched. It makes no sense. I watched all 31 plays because that was the extent of what Tom saw in the first half, and I can't figure out why he's benching Tom. I went through every single play, and I went one step further. I asked 2 different NFL personnel people on 2 separate teams to evaluate and break down the film to see if I was missing something. He was 7 for 13. 12 of the 13 balls touched the receiver's hands. The only ball that didn't was the strip sack fumble that they called incomplete upon replay. 7 were completions, 5 were drops. And this is what happens, and this is one of the many blessings of the Belichick-Brady union. This is the kind of stuff that happens when you've got a coach who is fighting for his life and doesn't have the confidence of tenure and success that allows him to make decisive decisions. He gets scared and benches his guy after a half. And
is Bill O'Brien, though, fighting for his for his coaching life? I mean, Mike, it wasn't great, but they won the division last year, right?
He's fighting for his job. There's been speculation around his position, his security, and his desire to even be there for a couple seasons now.
It's just, you don't have any idea how good a coach Bill O'Brien is, even though getting to the playoffs with Brian Hoyer, like, that's pretty good, but you don't have any idea how good he is because their quarterback play is just so dreadful. And this is not, Stugotz, nobody else is benching. The last time I remember this happening was Dave Wanstedt was fearing for his job, and at the first half of the first game against Houston, he benched it was either A.J. Feely for Jay Fiedler or Jay Fiedler for A.J. Feely. You don't see a quarterback get benched first half of the season. When do you ever see that?
When you have bad options. I saw the Browns do that with Charlie Fry once. They yanked him and put in Derek Anderson. That worked out for him. And I would love for my agent to fight for me the way that agent did. Counterpoint to it, though, is what the agent's not mentioning is obviously the offensive line was a really difficult time against that Jaguars defensive line, and Tom Savage has cement blocks attached to his feet. At least get some mobility.
Yeah, he was sacked. He was sacked 6 times in the first half.
Right. I guess I could see, yes. Love the agent and the fact that he's fighting and actually doing the research and presenting it and saying here. And
it's really hard to argue with the way that he presented it.
It is, except it was 19-0 at half. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm the Texans, I come back and, hey, appreciate all the research, 19-0 at half.
Needed a spark.
Yeah, there is a pretty big football reason for why you would make that change. That's omitted, even though the agent did a great job. No time, and Deshaun Watson infinitely more athletic than Tom Savage.
I do like, though, that in going after him, because this is strategic, you don't very often see an agent do something like this. He's going after the coach, but he's not doing something that would harm his quarterback, which is say that publicly. He had no time. His offensive line was terrible. Like, he's being very careful to protect his client there by not saying, hey, we were sacked 6 times. What the hell do you want? He's just going after the coach. Explain it to me. Somebody explain it to me. I just haven't seen it before. Like, it's an interesting combination of events. And you never see a half into the season, the guy benched and the agent doing this.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
The City Double Cash Card presents Tips for Talking Sports at the Office. Number 8, be informed.
I'm going to list some random stats that don't really mean anything.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. I'm nodding, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's not working.
Wouldn't it be great if everyone said what they meant? The Citi Double Cash Card does. It lets you earn double cash back with 1% when you buy and 1% as you pay. The Citi Double Cash Card. Double means double.
Don Le Batard.
Never going to stop. I am what I am, man. I'm 44 years old. I ain't changing.
Stugotz.
Why change now? It's worked. Here I am. Sitting next to you. Filthy rich.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. Houston Texans linebacker Brian Cushing has been suspended 10 games for violating the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances.
Shocker!
Yeah.
Shocker!
Whoa.
What? Brian Cushing uses steroids? I don't believe it.
That's the second time, right, Mike? Second time for Cushing. Is that really news?
That's word association for me. When I see him tackle someone, that tackle was provided by steroids.
The International Olympic Committee has approved the Olympic Games for Paris in 2024 and Los Angeles for 2028. The traffic will be great out there. And finally, Justin Bieber and Marilyn Manson have beef. The beef stems from Bieber using Manson's likeness on expensive tour merch. Manson says when he met with Bieber to give him permission to use his likeness, Bieber was already wearing the merch when they met and told Manson that he made him relevant again. In a new interview with Consequence of Sound, Marilyn Manson calls Justin Bieber a real piece of bleep. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day. That is so bad, so pretentious, is it not?
Hold on a second. There is breaking news. Guillermo, do you have a photo of Mel Kiper's new hair?
What?
I see stuff happening right here.
Where can I see it?
I see the shipping container filled with frightened refugees is agitated right now. I can't even consume news because Mel Kiper has changed his hair.
I've been telling you guys for like the last 12 minutes, Twitter has been a buzz, and it's all about Mel Kiper. I think he's trending. His hair is trending right now.
All right, Guillermo, am I correct that what you were reacting to was in shock to how Mel Kiper looks?
Absolutely. If you can't find it on Twitter, go to ESPN.com and just search Mel Kiper, and there's a video that they posted 3 hours ago where you can see it. Oh, my God. Very short.
Can't get this.
It's padded down.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
It's not the same anymore.
Yeah. It's not a total transformation. Like, it can come back. Like, it's not a lost cause, but it's shocking. I mean, I don't know how to deal with this.
I'm really broken up about this.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll. Should Mel Kiper be fired for changing his hair? Yes or no? And also put up there, is Mel Kiper still Mel Kiper? Because I think it's over.
I mean, that's the staple, right?
You think McShay told him to do it?
I think McShay is loving this.
I think McShay cut it.
He thinks that Kiper. He's looking at Kiper and he's like, "Yeah, Kiper's screwed." He's trying to revolutionize himself, trying to go younger, and that's where it all ends for the old people.
Todd, how does this look, man?
Oh my God, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. The subtlety that Stugotz brings to every conversation.
I just saw it, man. I mean, he has such great hair. Right around draft time, I don't tweet out a picture of Mel or promotion of the draft. I tweet out a picture of his hair. That's it. I still have it in my phone. And Mel Kiper, to me, looked perfect with that haircut. Perfect.
Does your wife consult you before she cuts her hair?
My wife consult me?
Mm-hmm.
Before she cuts her hair? No. Absolutely not. I care more about his hair than I do her hair.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Does your wife or husband change their hairstyles? Tell you before they change, or consult you before they change their hairstyles?
I'm just wondering, Mike, if I'll get used to it at some point. Like maybe it's just the immediate shock I have. I don't know.
Ugh.
What happened? The hair? You saw
everything. He does look younger. He does look younger. He changed the frames up.
It ruins the whole thing, the whole persona for me. I mean, it's all about the hair and the big board and the delivery.
This is going to take me it's going
to take me a while. Yeah. I apologize to Mel because maybe I just need some time to absorb all this, and maybe in time I'll think that it looks a lot better. But right now, I am stunned, shocked. Shocked.
All right.
Has it always been this dark?
The room. I mean, we have not had this happening in the room since Mike Ryan got suspended after alleging that Sal Paolantonio's teeth might be fake. This room has not been like this since then. I want to ask you guys this question. Mike, you know, I've told you before that I don't feel comfortable being in the middle of stories. I wouldn't like to say the things that make the Detroit Lions or the Cleveland Browns, tweet at me. I don't like to be in the middle of that. But Stugotz does like to be in the middle of that. Stugotz loves when Kevin Durant is feuding with Stephen A. Smith and wishes that he himself were in the middle of a feud with an athlete. You like an athlete going back and forth at you.
I live for it.
Kevin Durant did something with you yesterday, right? Yesterday there was a back and forth between you and Kevin Durant. You are actively seeking out feuds with people that will make you more prominent.
It's still up for debate as to whether or not this was an interaction with Stugotz or incarcerated Bob that Stugotz was just CC'd on.
Because I said something about Kevin Durant, his new shoe should be called the shortcut. You put them on, it automatically takes you to the easiest path. Incarcerated Bob loved that. And he's got some major reach. And he tweeted it at me. He quoted me and sent it to KD. And KD responded to me saying, coming from the same guy that buys his shoes from Amazon rather than going to the mall, LMAO. So, I love it. Like, that made my day yesterday. I had a great day yesterday. The show was good. Weekend observations were good. I mean, my wife was nice to me. I came home. There were no Zappos.com boxes at home, no Amazon.com boxes at home. I had a great day. We did HQ yesterday. Had a blast with your dad afterwards. But Kevin Durant tweeting at me made my day.
All right. And what I want to ask you guys and Stugotz is this question. Because you know that Stugotz gets jealous of media figure in the mix when it's not him, of Jay Glazer calling plays in the Pro Bowl. So, Mike, what is the answer to this question? Secretly, deep down, in places that he doesn't talk about at cocktail parties, is Stugotz envious right now of Jemele Hill?
Ooh. Yes.
It's a hell yes.
I look at it and I'm like...
She led CNN last night. Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, but... Oh.
I mean, the White House talked about her.
I know.
And the press secretary. And what is the White House doing, by the way?
No, let's not do that. I don't want to do that.
All right.
The White House is called for the firing. But all of that, I look at all of it and I'm like, ooh, that is the price. Because Colin Kaepernick retweeted support of Jemele Hill, and just the frenzy around all of this stuff, to me, as I watch it, is deeply uncomfortable. And that's sort of why it is that you do it, is to make people deeply uncomfortable in ways that they need to take inventory of their thoughts and their feelings and the way they behave and their laws and everything else and their government. But I marvel at you. Would you want to be in the middle of that? I know Stugotz would, because he's built differently. And I thought maybe the race stuff would be strong enough to scare him off of the scent of celebrity fame, power, and validation.
I mean, I'd be calling you asking how to respond to certain things and questions being asked to me. But, yeah, I'd be fine with it. I mean, CNN, the White House. Heck of a couple of days, I mean.
You'd just go, you wouldn't be scared doing the interview circuit, though? Like,
well, as long as you prep me before the interview, I think I'd be, or just stand by my side or something.
It's so you that you want people to do your work for you, even through that.
Yeah, Sports Whisper. or just me talking in his headset.
You almost walked yourself into a disaster this segment when you started going rogue.
What happened?
Yeah.
That's why I need Dan there, just right by my side. You in my headsets, Dan just standing right next to me. I'll get through it. I'll get through the tough times. And, the good times and all the exposure far outweighs any difficulty.
Here's what I'm telling you, right? Here's what I'm telling you. I feel comfortable with this subject matter. I feel confident talking about this stuff that we've talked about for 15 years around here.
Right.
I wouldn't be comfortable in the middle of all of that. It would be uncomfortable. And Stugotz like, sign me up. And then jazz hands.
Right at home.
Don Le Batard.
I'm telling you, we are good here. Trust me. I've never let you down.
Stugotz.
It's like living a life. Imagine living your life, and every time you take a step, you know you might step on a landmine. That's my life. I'm married to a minefield, and he doesn't know that he's a minefield. It's just like, trust me, Dan, we got this, while cleaning the chocolate out of his teeth with his tongue.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Well, this person here thinks they're coming at me with the straight talk. We will get back to Mel Kiper's hair change and the shocking reaction it has received in a second. He warned us this was coming. He told us months ago that a change was brewing. But this texter right here is coming with the straight talk, Stugotz. Dan, why is it every race discussion you have conveniently skips the crux of the issue that people have with ESPN? People like Jemele Hill and Pablo Torre aren't particularly talented, but happen to hold those positions based on their heritage and ESPN's desire to diversify at all costs. When their lack of talent ultimately reveals itself, people find it easy to criticize the network. The blowback is only beginning. Boom. That guy hit me with a boom at the end. There was a boom at the end. And while you may not think that Jemele Hill and Pablo Torre are very talented, I know that they are, and I'm more qualified to be discerning about these things than you are.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I know who's good at this and why they're good and what their credentials are and what their teaching is and what their experiences are and what they studied and why it is that they're qualified to be in those positions. And frankly, that criticism is fairer directed at all the white people before them that used to get these positions largely because they had opinions that were being identified with in the public and looked a way that was a little more comfortable and palatable to the customers who represent the majority.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're fine.
Fine, I'll take it. Take a fine. Happy with fine. You're great.
You are talented. There is no one more talented at being you and this than you are. No one. No one. I don't know how that talent works without any sort of buffers and
I don't either, Dan.
Limits and then the circus tent sort of pulling you back in.
Let's not find out.
I mean, I'd like to find out. I'd like him to make the CNN tour in the middle of a scandal that he's comfortable with, right? Like, I don't want harm to befall him, but
right.
if he like marches into a controversy with like, I got this, Dan, CNN wants to talk to me, I'd like to see what that looks like.
I ain't getting there. There's nothing I talk about that's going to ever make it to CNN. Like, what, rip J.J. Watt or
the Raiders for real?
Right, exactly.
Leading CNN.
Shudorf Ryle's going to hell.
Jake Tapper brings you along to find out if the Raiders are for real.
What's going on with Mel Kiper? Has he made any public comments? Or Mel, we're a safe space for you if you want to come in here and confess. This just happened? This just broke 3 hours ago with a video? Mel has told us before that he and his wife do his hair, right? So his wife had to be in on this.
Yes, he did tell us that, and it seems like today's the day. Like the big reveal was today because it's all over Twitter.
Credit to him for giving us enough time to prepare for this. Not unlike boarding up your homes with an impending storm. The Mel Kiper Jr. haircut did not catch us off guard, but it's still stunning when it arrives and devastating.
Mel, where are you? You are a friend and an enemy of the show. I don't believe you have an actual big board. I believe that's a concoction, that there is no big board anywhere. You deny it. It's a source of feuding throughout our entire lives.
His most recent big board came out today, man. I'll tell you, there's a guy he has shooting up the first round, and it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, I don't think he's ever been on Mel's big board. and now he's a first-round pick. He has him at number 13. It's amazing. 4 quarterbacks in the top 13 next year. The Jets won't take one of them.
How fun is it to watch that guy play?
Oh, so much fun.
I mean, I'm watching him against North Carolina. North Carolina defense is doing everything right, and it doesn't matter because he's just one step better than everybody who's on their defense.
Can't wait to watch this Clemson game this weekend. A rematch of last year's matchup, which was primetime and amazing.
That may have been the best game of the year last year, right?
Up there, certainly.
Yeah.
Clemson's defense still very, very good. Excited. Football. College football in particular. Good.
He is Michael Vick. Like you watch him play and he's that kind of electric. It's just not normal. Even with Deshaun Watson, I never felt like he was the best athlete on the field. Even doing amazing things in college football, I thought his wide receiver was more of an athlete than he was, right? The Williams kid.
One of the things that Mel was talking about and other people have talked about with Lamar Jackson is last year he just ran over. He's just a better athlete than most of the people out on the field with him. But the pocket passing this year and his presence has been like dramatically improved. He worked on it during the offseason, and that's why Kiper has moved him up, because the question was, can he play a pro-style offense? And he's showing that he can.
Nice work by you tricking me into this conversation. But the point was, and I'm pretty sure that Stugotz thinks that video this morning, the way that he said, the big board debuted today, his first one, I think Stugotz thought that Mel Kiper was doing a hair reveal. That the video wasn't a big board. The way we learned that the hair was different is that there was a big board reveal. I feel like Stugotz is like, no, because that's how he would do it. If Stugotz had a press conference to change, Stugotz would have a press conference to change his hair if his hair was famous.
I would. I mean, who wouldn't? I'm shocked. In fact, I'm disappointed with Mel Kiper for not doing it that way, because I figured Mel,
you've already done that twice. You bleached your hair and gone fine, Bob.
But you agree, missed
and we
opportunity.
sent out press releases for both of those things.
You're right. But missed opportunity for Mel, though, right?
I would have liked the press release.
Yes. Like a big event, a big reveal, right? People would have tuned into that.
That's appointment viewing.
That would have been, actually, I'm with Stugotz on this.
Thank you.
ESPN could have turned this into a television show that would have gotten ratings, that would have set the internet abuzz, or would have taken all the stuff that's on the internet. Why didn't ESPN do that? Like a decision type thing with Mel Kiper. Let's all look at his new hair together.
Like, imagine if Scott Van Pelt decided to go the route of Brian Urlacher. Go from bald to all of a sudden having a head of hair, and it was a televised primetime event. We'd all tune in. The big reveal.
Yeah, I'm going to put it on the poll there. Did ESPN really blow an enormous opportunity at viewership by not doing Mel Kiper's different hair announcement on television live?
A missed opportunity for PR. I can't imagine what they might be bogged down with right now. That's more important than this.
Let's go, PR. PR. There's nothing more important than this. Let's go, PR. Get that out there.
Dan Le Batard.
You are the best. And when I say the best, I mean the very worst and most evil.
Stugotz.
The worst.
But this time, it's for
real. Worst.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I know the movie theaters probably longed for a time when there wasn't quite so much competition and distribution. But do movie theaters long for a time pre-internet? When you talk about customers getting good at sniffing out a bad movie, we're so Yelp review oriented right now that we're really discerning about, group think.
Right.
Going where it is that people tell you to go. So do the movies long for a time pre-internet? Because the internet also helps spread good news about a movie. So basically, you'd get fooled before if you went to a movie and it was a terrible movie. You'd have no idea.
Right.
Does the theater prefer that, or forcing merit upon the theater? If you got a good one, it's going to spread more because of the internet too.
It's a great question. I don't know the economics, meaning I don't know how much the internet is helping movies out from a financial standpoint, and I don't know how much movies would be helped out if there was no internet, right? Like, you kind of have to think about it like that. I'd like to think that movie theaters, the business of movie theaters, would prefer no internet.
But you look at Hollywood's heyday in terms of box office revenue, it happened post-internet. The internet certainly helped circulate word of mouth. You think Get Out would have been the same sort of hit were not for the internet and social media?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it forces merit upon the movie makers, because the only way that the internet is going to serve you is if your movie's good.
Right. But I was tricked by the program. Like I've told you guys forever, that was the best preview I've ever seen, and the preview got me to go see the movie. Now, if I was reading on the internet how many people saw the movie and thought it was terrible, I probably never go see it.
Well, that's evolution, though, right? Because it's funny. That's how things have evolved. The movie companies got really good at the high end of evolution of making a trailer that would get you to the theater. And now we've evolved, and we're like, no, trailer's not enough. I want to know what my friends think about it. And now they're evolving again because that mommy movie, nobody knows what's up in the mommy movie. Because
what is up with Mother?
I know, but the trailer...
Is she giving birth to the Antichrist?
I know. I don't know, but they're doing...
Well, that's a good strategy. You got to leave some mystery to what your movie's
There's
about.
There's a whole lot of evolving going on.
It's a weird cast. Why is Javier Bardem in it? Who does he play? Ed Harris is like moving
It's a mystery what the hell the movie's about.
Michelle Pfeiffer's there. Whoa. Jennifer Lawrence is dating Darren Aronofsky.
Whoa.
Aronofsky. How do you pronounce that name?
Aronofsky.
Is it? Yeah.
Whoa. I want to ask you guys something here. This actually happened to me. This is a true story. This is how my Monday evening went, okay? I have a lot of friends from different political spectrums. I know you guys may think that I only align myself with people who think like me, but I have a lot of friends from a lot of different backgrounds.
You're aligned with me, man.
Okay, but I know a lot of people are probably going to think that, well, you're just always with Pablo, you know. And so, anyways, this is the message I get. This is where we are, okay? Because
the face of that now.
I think he is.
Yeah. So this is what I get Monday, and this is just 2017 sports consumption culture war. I get a text from a friend of mine. This bleeping political correctness. I can't even watch this football game. I'm changing the channel. And I don't know what it's about. And I got it wrong twice. Because I'm like, is this about Sergio Dip? Is this about a guy who was trying to do a sideline report in his second language? Is my friend objecting? Why is he objecting to that with me? Or is it all the people who were complaining that ESPN2 had a simulcast of the game in Spanish? And so I'm telling him, hey, you could go watch on another channel if you don't like the Spanish. And he's like, no, the broad. I'm like, all right, great.
Oh, man.
Great. Good talk. But, like, that's where we are in 2017, man. Like, I put anything in the booth around what it is that's in front of you, what you're used to. What are you guys cringing about? I'm telling you, that's not my story about someone else that makes my friend look like a jerk and like Archie Bunker. Not me. What happened? Why'd you guys...
No. I feel pity for your boy.
Yeah, I buried him.
Yeah. It's a boy, right?
Why'd you guys slump like that? Everyone got scared.
It's an awful thing to say.
It was shocking.
Shocking.
Yeah. Shocking to me.
Really?
Like Mel's hair.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You guys are still... Where are you guys living? What kind of bubble are you guys living in?
People don't talk like that anymore.
Really?
I mean, I surround myself with people who just enjoy watching football, man.
I swear to God, I feel like I'm talking to 5-year-olds. I've just removed their innocence.
I'm telling you, life is easier if you surround yourself with people like me. Just come over. We don't care who's calling the game. We just watch the game, hand in a bag of chips, the other hand down our pants. We're good.
I'm just saying... And I don't know. I didn't hear the broadcast. I told you I checked out on All Football Monday night the moment that Bradford started checking down. First quarter of the first game, I checked out on All Football. So there were complaints about the broadcast. I read about complaints about everyone. Rex Ryan, Beth Mowins.
Beth Mowins was fantastic. I mean, Rex, still has a little ways to go, but he could be good at it. Like, if we get the Rex that we see when he's on with Scott Van Pelt in the booth, he'll be great. Beth Mowins, fantastic. Fantastic. Like what I did there, huh?
Do you think you did something good there? Really? You think you did something good there?
You thought that was smooth?
I'm willing to be patient on Rex, and then I tied it all together with
Thank you for extending an ESPN colleague the courtesy of your patience before you do what? Before you rip him?
But Mel Kiper's hair. Just terrible.
Oh,
All I want to do is a zoom, 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 and a boom, boom.
I thought that was a good story. I can't even keep track of what is the diversity you're objecting to. Which diversity? I got it wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were just coming after Hispanics. My bad. No, it's the woman. Oh, my bad.
Don Le Batard.
Somebody you got to look out for is Tim Tebow. He's a guy that you can definitely trust in pass protection. Definitely a guy that will make your team better. Vi Sikahema is another guy that you can trust. Definitely in pass protection. A guy that's going to make your team better.
Stugotz.
Caliendo, where you at? I know you're out there somewhere.
Is that what, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but that's the point of the Le Batard show.
That's right.
Throw someone into a situation they don't know what's happening, and you feel as awkward as possible, and try and fight through, and then never talk to Dan again.
This is the Don Le Batard show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
You guys are bloodthirsty, man. So many of you holding us accountable, saying, bucket of death, bucket of death. Where's the bucket of death? It's tomorrow. It will be tomorrow. We couldn't do it last week because we were preparing for hurricanes.
Now, people are probably saying there's a game tonight. What happens? So if the Texans win and one of us picks the Texans, we get a free week. But if we pick the loser, then we get kind of instant death. You know?
Okay, so if you don't know what the bucket of death is, we've got a Grim Reaper, and every week we reach into a bucket, and that team is the team that we're playing with, and then there are there are 100 exceptions. I hate it. We all hate it. Everyone hates it. There's still some owed shames. I have been, during a hurricane, this has happened before the hurricane and since the hurricane, in the middle of a supply shortage in South Florida, you will see one Dan Le Batard searching for George Michael gear. I have been shopping and looking, and I've only found sunglasses so far because I have to be George Michael from Faith, not George Michael from Wham. I think Stugotz is going to be George Michael from Wham.
Yeah, have your outfit, Stugotz. We can do that on the same day, too.
Okay.
So, but I've been shopping for this because I want to get this paid, so maybe tomorrow I will pay it. If I can find this in our hurricane.
Do you have the weightlifting glove?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the dangly cross earring?
No. That's going to be hard to find.
I went to
I'm going to have to call Barry Bonds, have him send me one.
Wait, so you have my entire costume already?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Wake me up before you go.
Oh, come on, man.
Let me ask you this question, Stugotz. See, you made the fatal mistake of here's your laziness catching you, right? Because I remember Boog Shambi asked me one year to do this. He was surprised at how excited I was to help him. John Boog Shambi, the voice of Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, said, yeah, Le Batard, just go buy me my Halloween costume. And he was surprised that I just shot out. Yeah, I got it.
Right.
I've never been so eager to help anybody.
Dan's so nice. Man.
Yeah, Dan's so kind and giving. And so I got just like a giant heart. It was a giant heart, and he was wearing like pink. Boog's big dude. He was wearing pink stockings. He looked completely ridiculous.
So I made the mistake of letting Mike shop for me?
Yes, you made the mistake of Mike will take care of it. And you are going again. Stugotz is going to be George Michael from Wham. The short shorts, all of it.
Come on.
Yes.
Fingerless gloves.
No.
Got 'em all, man.
Yeah, man.
Neon colors.
All right.
So anyways, that's what's happening around here. I want to ask you this in reference to Lamar Jackson. Petrino leaves with him, right?
Wow. What is he, a junior?
But Petrino parlays that into something else, right? Louisville's a stepping stone. It's what Sumlin should have done, right? Sumlin's
when Manziel left, he should have left?
Sumlin's mistake is not like Sumlin had all the options in the world right then, and isn't Petrino going to be able to erase all the crud with just making Louisville got good fast?
They were top 5 last year at times. I don't know where they finished last year. They're top 15 right now. They got good really fast. So, yeah, I would think that when Jackson leaves after this season, probably, Petrino will parlay that into another job. That's what Petrino does. But that's what all guys should do.
But is Petrino rehabbed enough is what I'm saying. If Sumlin could have done it because Sumlin on Manziel's wings was just sort of up-and-comer guy. And now all of that has been exhausted, and we've seen, that That's not sustainable.
Right.
And now he's in trouble. He's in real trouble. Is Petrino clean now? Is Petrino coveted again?
I think so, just from the standpoint of how quickly he could take a program and make them relevant and make them good.
Well, this isn't the final stop for Petrino, is it?
How old is he? That has a lot to do with these things.
But he doesn't strike. He strikes you as a mercenary, doesn't he?
He does, but he also strikes me as someone who burned any bridge on the pro level. Certainly, with how he left Atlanta.
Right.
Well, but
not pros, but college.
Wait.
And he's 56, by the way.
Oh, why are you guys doing burned any bridge? If that press conference didn't burn every bridge, then every bridge cannot be burned. Like if that press conference he had with the neck brace, a bloody face from a motorcycle accident with a mistress on the back and filled with lies, like if that doesn't derail him.
Right, but you saw his landing spots. I think it was, Western Kentucky, which was a smaller program. I think it was Western Kentucky. And then he went back to a place that he had roots. He had personal relationships. You can be damaged and be in consideration. Hell, Butch Davis was in consideration for jobs when nobody else would hire him.
Right, but what I'm asking you guys is on what level of repair and rehab are we with Bobby Petrino?
Like what schools would make sense? Would Michigan hire Bobby Petrino if Jim Harbaugh left?
Is he going to be able to parlay everything into another stepping stone, or is Louisville where he has to finish it because Louisville welcomed him back? I don't know the answer to the question I'm asking.
Like, what does Notre Dame do? Who desperately wants to be good at football again? Brian Kelly might not make it through this season.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like, is that...
Because then you're selling your soul for a guy who's got to check.
But they already sold their soul. Like, Brian Kelly is out there. Is Brian Kelly representing that university the way that it wishes to be represented?
I don't think so.
Never mind wins and losses and the idea that he was 4-8 last year with a quarterback who just started an NFL football game. Listen to this back and forth with Brian Kelly, and you tell me if this arrogance has been diluted at all by losing with NFL quarterback on his roster last year.
Obviously, you've made a ton of changes, changed the culture, everything, but obviously you lost at the very end, kind of like last year, 7 of 8 losses. How do you,
what's the question?
I'm getting to it.
Get to the question.
How do you keep this from snowballing?
It's not going to snowball. Next question.
Well, what exactly will be different, I guess?
There's nothing different. I go to work every day, and I coach my football team.
Okay.
Is that good enough for you?
Yes, I was just asking about how it was different from last year's losing by 1 possession.
Okay.
And tonight was also like that, so I was just wondering.
Losing by 1 possession?
Yes.
No, it was 1 point.
Okay.
Okay, great, thanks.
All right, let's just do this till the end of the segment, all of us. Brian Kelly was 4-8 last year. All of us, ready? Brian Kelly was 4-8. Give me a better one. Give me a better one.
It's a terrible
4-8. 4-8. 4-8. 4-8.
You were awful at cheers.
Quarterback with a pro.
Kelly.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shades.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
The Citi Double Cash Card presents Tips for Talking Sports at the Office. Number 8, be informed.
I'm going to list some random stats that don't really mean anything.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. I'm nodding, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's not working.
Wouldn't it be great if everyone said what they meant? The Citi Double Cash Card does. It lets you earn double cash back with 1% when you buy and 1% as you pay. The Citi Double Cash Card. Double means double.
Don Le Batard.
I mean, my kids don't even like me anymore. That's the bad part. I mean, the one thing I had was my kids, was my twin girls, and they are mortified by me, by my mere existence.
Stugotz.
I mean, I went in that lake at camp over the weekend, took the shirt off, stuck the stomach out as far as I could, and cannonballed right into that lake. My girls asked me to leave afterwards.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So I'm curious here as we talk about all the nonsense that we talk about around here. It sounded during the last segment like I was chanting either foreign aid or fornicate. I was trying to chant 4 and 8. The record, 4 and 8. I am a terrible chanter. Bill Belichick, can you get me the only known chanter worse than me? And I think we need to put it on the poll, Guillermo. Who is a worse chanter, Bill Belichick or Dan Le Batard? Because everything I did at the end of the last segment made to embarrass Brian Kelly only embarrassed me, as it was revealed to you and to me that I am a terrible chanter. Everybody was confused. Yep. It was rushed. But is anyone else mystified as I am how Brian Kelly hasn't had any of the arrogance knocked off of him? Like, how is that possible?
It's amazing.
All right, let's listen to Belichick chant.
Let me tell you, these players, they've worked harder than any team I've ever coached. They came to work every day, and there were no days off. No days off. No days off. No days off.
That's better than what I did. Belichick is better. No days off is 3 syllables. It's easy. I don't know what I was doing. Brian Kelly was 4 and 8 last year.
So wordy.
It was really wordy. But seriously, does Brian Kelly not know that he was 4 and 8 last year?
No. Has no idea.
Because the last time we checked in on Brian Kelly was telling us that the only reason that they weren't good last year is because he was too busy fundraising and he wasn't doing his job, that he could have kept them from being 4 and 8, but he was being too great at fundraising and not great enough at coaching.
Well, Brian Kelly wasn't 4 and 8 last year. The players were 4 and 8.
Right, it's their fault. Yeah. Right. Now, in 2012, Brian Kelly was 12 and 1.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Yep. Him.
Yep. He was. Not Manti Te'o, not Mike Golick Jr. It was all Brian Kelly.
Also, why did he feel the need to correct the reporter incorrectly, I might add, about a 1-possession game and a 1-point game?
Yeah. I mean,
he's a jerk.
But what is happening there? Hold on. Thank you. There it is.
I'm tired of Brian
Behavior
Kelly.
and not the person.
No, you know what? I'm tired of Brian Kelly. It's demeaning what he did, and it was uncalled for, and it was a fair and legitimate question. I mean, please. I don't get mad at a reporter because you can't coach your team. Notre Dame didn't hire you to go 60-32, and the biggest bowl game he's won is the Music City Bowl. Give me a break. Like, why is that guy walking around demeaning reporters who are asking fair questions? Why is that guy acting more arrogant than Nick Saban? He has nothing to back it up. Zero. Nothing. And that 12 and 1 he had was with another coach's players. I'm sorry. Like Brian Kelly walking around thinking he's God's gift to college football. Please give me a break and show some respect to people doing their job, because you know who's not doing their job? You, Brian Kelly.
That escalated quickly.
Tired of him. I've been tired of him for years, and you're finally just catching up. Congratulations. I mean, it took a 4 and 8 for you to catch up to me.
No, I don't understand that if you're going to be the guy who's not very nice to reporters and is publicly arrogant, shouldn't we know that you're really good?
That's what I'm saying. Be Nick Saban.
I just feel like if I'm going to have to endure your gas bag arrogance, there better be some excellence behind it. But all I think of when I see is Brian Kelly is, that guy looks like he should be washing the boat that he's on a Saturday afternoon at the marina. Bloated and pink. He doesn't need to be leading anybody. Just scrub the boat. That yacht that you have, just scrub it, shirtless, bloated and pink.
Well, plenty of time, because this Saturday afternoon is going to be clear soon.
That's the joke I was making. I was making that joke instead of...
I made it better. That's what I'm here for.
Is it? Okay.
To make jokes better. Brian Kelly. All right. He's just jerky, Brian Kelly. I mean, jeez. And again, you got plenty of time. His Saturday's going to be wide open pretty soon, unless someone's dumb enough to hire him to coach on Sundays.
Can someone But who can someone help me with this?
And the reason they're going to be wide open, Dano, is because he's getting fired.
Right, because he's not going to be working anymore for Notre Dame. Yeah, I got that. Can someone help me, though? Because we're used to it from Nick Saban. We're used to it from Belichick. We're used to it from Popovich. Can you guys give me another cruddy coach who's always guilty of it? Because we'll tolerate, if your excellence matches your arrogance, we'll tolerate it more than what we would with Brian Kelly.
I just want to be clear. He's going to be fired because he's bad at coaching.
Give me another guy. Somebody give me another guy where this guy is always doing that in the press conference, and you're watching it, and you're like, that guy's not any good at what he does for a living.
Yeah, Freddie Mitchell is the prime example, I think. FredEx. Ooh, let's Google the Bill Belichick quote on Freddie Mitchell.
But I was talking about no. I don't think you guys. No. You guys.
Are you just strictly the coaching profession?
I'm doing coaches, yes, because at least in the case of Freddie Mitchell, whether he's a good professional wide receiver or not, the guy has climbed at every level over all of the people athletically and has arrived at professional football. Brian Kelly is not in professional football.
No.
Lane Kiffin.
That's a pretty good one. And Brian Kelly was 4-0 last year. The players were 0-8.
Yeah, there it is. I feel like that's what Brian Kelly's doing, though.
Exactly what he's doing.
It's like, look,
but soon he won't be doing anything, Dan, because he's getting fired. Because he's a bad football coach.
Right.
And plenty of time to wash them boats. Brian Kelly.
That segment was flaming doo-doo fire.
There is nothing to discuss. And someone's going to be dumb enough to hire him again, right? Like Cincinnati, we'll bring Kelly back and relive our glory days. Kind of like what Louisville did with Petrino. Here's what I have happening. Petrino to Notre Dame. They'll sell their souls, and he'll win, his first 30 games there and a couple of national championships, and then leave that program in complete distress. Like, they'll never play football there again. And I have Brian Kelly coming to Louisville after he's done washing a boat. Because he got fired. Because he's a bad football coach.
I don't think I've ever been as surprised by a single word that Stugotz has ever chosen than him using the comedically perfect, he will leave the program in complete distress. like lost at sea. Distress is comedically perfect as a word, and I don't think I've ever been so surprised by any one word Stugotz has ever chosen.
When you're lost at sea, you know what you can use? A boat.
Finish the joke, Stugotz. Finish the
Too bad
joke.
He's going to be too busy cleaning that boat. Because he was fired from Notre Dame because he's a bad football coach.
Don Le Batard.
Stugotz talking about movies is one of the most amazing things you'll ever see. He says he wants to know in a movie's title what a movie's about, and he was just yelping and complaining.
Stugotz.
Well, Dances with Wolves, which is one of the most overrated movies in the history of movie making. The guy never dances with a wolf. If the title of the movie is going to be Dances with Wolves, then I want to see a guy dancing with wolves. Costner never did it.
Right. You're waiting 3 hours for a guy to dance with a wolf.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Have the Colts botched everything about Andrew Luck? Not just recently, and the fact that he's not playing now and your season in a bad division is already getting off to a terrible start that's not going to be easy to overcome.
Right.
Have they botched? What have they gotten right? Let's do it the other way. I was stunned to see that Frank Gore is still the starting running back for that football team. How is that even possible? How many years has there ever been a running back? I'm talking about ever. Like Franco Harris, I remember him at the end. where you're still leaning on him for the majority of the carries when he's got that kind of mileage on him.
And it seems like in today's NFL, it's an easy position to replace. Frank Gore is 34 years old.
He still has stuff to give, but he should not be a starting running back getting the bulk of your carries, but he's the best of their options.
Have they surrounded him with...
But that's what I'm asking. I'm asking how much help have they gotten Andrew Luck?
Well, T.Y. Hilton, Mike, was T.Y. there before?
Same draft class.
So same draft class.
They tried to get him, Pep Hamilton, as his offensive coordinator, make things consistent. And remember, they had some early success there. They were super aggressive with trades. Remember, Vontae Davis was available, they got him. Trent Richardson was available, they got him. They've been super aggressive, and they've whiffed on a lot of things, and they really botched the handling of this injury.
The best thing they've done for Andrew Luck is the Vontae Davis trade. Nothing else. Nothing. And drafting T.Y. Hilton to play with him. But nothing else has been the right thing.
But wasn't Andrew Luck supposed to be one of those guys, those rare guys like Rodgers, that it doesn't matter who you surround him with, he's going to make them better. You're going to win with Andrew Luck. People were comparing him to Elway. Elway didn't have great position players, skilled position player. He did not. He did not have great wide receivers. He had him at the end with Terrell Davis, but he did not have him before then. And he went to 3 Super Bowls and they lost.
You're being very absolute about this. The Colts have been really pedestrian. And yes, some of that falls on Andrew Luck as well. He has not been great.
They tried to get him Andre Johnson. He was at the tail end of his career. Frank Gore was an upgrade, believe it or not. He's just older. They've taken a lot of hacks, and they've missed a lot.
Are you not stunned by the entire Frank Gore experience? You're not stunned by that?
I'm stunned that he's getting the bulk of the carries at 34 years old.
I can't believe that his body can still do that as a starter in that league, given the way that he is run and the way that he has been used his entire career.
And going into the NFL, 2 major knee injuries, 2 in college.
It is pretty stunning. I mean, relying on a 34-year-old running back in today's NFL is, to me, pretty... Like the Chiefs, it's like Jamal Charles. He's hurt. They let him go. Broncos sign him. They get Kareem Hunt. He's a 4th-round pick, I think, and he's a great back. Like, it seems like an easy position to fill, and to fill it with Frank Gore is crazy.
Adrian Peterson looked pretty old Monday night in the little that you saw of him. Adrian Peterson is younger by a good amount than Frank Gore.
And he got, 9 snaps on Monday night?
Yeah, wasn't happy about it.
It's a bad team in Indianapolis right now. And I don't know how to grade Andrew Luck as a quarterback because I know he's throwing a lot of interceptions, but I also see him running for his life a lot. So I don't know. How do you decide if he's good or not?
Well, his best year was 40 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Is he that, or is he, just about every other year, which is 23 touchdowns and 16 interceptions?
Well, they really botched it, man. Nothing will bring attention on your medical staff that you do not want than your quarterback playing through injury at the end of lost season, having the entire offseason off, and then not being ready for the beginning of the next season.
They did get him Jack Doyle.
Absolutely. I'm always looking for Jack Doyle.
His voice makes me laugh. I will never get used to that being offensive genius articulated.
Absolutely. I'm always looking for Jack Doyle.
It's one of my favorite pieces of sound.
Okay, hold on. Let me hear this again here, and you guys tell me what cartoon character it evokes. I'm not giving you the visual. I'm going to only give you the voice.
Absolutely. I'm always looking for Jack Doyle.
I mean, one that drools.
Absolutely. I'm always looking for Jack Doyle.
That's Ohio.
Jack Doyle.
Well, here's the thing, though. I need him to be great because I need him to win several championships because I need to have the height of genius represented by a guy who talks like that and has the cul-de-sac for hair. And it's just going to redefine everything we think about athleticism. If Andrew Luck talking like that and with a pituitary issue, what it sounds like, and then a cul-de-sac of hair with Terry Bradshaw hair.
I think it's that portion of the clip, really.
Yeah.
Right. I can isolate why that clip makes me happy.
I love the idea of Andrew Luck berating the doctors in that voice. You guys botched my surgery.
Absolutely. I'm always.
People are criticizing us on text saying that Andrew Luck took over a 1-15 team. That was done by design, by the way, so they can get Andrew Luck. They didn't play Peyton Manning and took them to 2 AFC championship games. I don't recall them. I know they went to 1 and they lost to New England and they got crushed in that game. I don't recall them going to a second.
That's the deflate.
45-7 they lost.
They
that
just
game.
went to 1 AFC championship game, but they beat Peyton Manning in the playoffs. They went to Denver and had a very impressive victory.
Okay, so wait a minute. Are they arguing that the Colts have achieved commensurate with what Andrew Luck's talent was? Is that what the argument is?
Well, no, they're arguing that Andrew Luck is a lot better than maybe we're giving off. That they know Andrew Luck is
but I think Andrew Luck is an above-average quarterback as well. But in a bad division, he has not produced very good teams. They've been division-winning teams, but in a terrible division.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the argument that they're making? Are they making the argument that...
Well, we were debating if he's actually an elite quarterback. I was saying he should be...
That's not what I was debating.
But I did that, and so now I guess they're getting mad at me.
Wow.
Well put.
Don Lebatard.
I'm pulled over, and I'm there with the police officer, and the police officer's outside my window, and a guy drives by in the opposite lane here, okay?
Yeah.
Stugotz.
He yells... Why are you laughing already? I haven't even gotten to the good part of the story.
Just the visual, and I know
it gets better. It gets better. The guy's driving by and he goes, "Appreciate you, man." And he's hanging out of the car. And so I'm getting the ticket and I'm waving at him. I'm like, "Thank you. Thank you." And then he yells back at me, "I was talking to the police officer."
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guest on the Dan Lebatard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The California State Athletic Commission has officially changed the result of UFC light heavyweight John Jones' knockout victory over Daniel Cormier at UFC 214 in July to a no contest. Following Jones' failed drug test, the UFC has reinstated Cormier as its light heavyweight champion. The Canadian Football League has eliminated pads from all regular season practices effective immediately and will limit contact to games following the end of preseason training camp. I like that. And finally, Rihanna told Elle Magazine, yes, I'm asking there, Elle Magazine, that David Copperfield asked her, "I'm not kidding, this is a real offer. I can make you disappear and reappear anywhere in the world. Where do you want to go and why?" Rihanna pondered the question and then replied, 10 minutes before I lost my virginity.
Yeah, she didn't get the question that he was asking. Can't time travel. No. He can jump.
He's only a magician, right? Yeah, he's only a magician.
No, he can. No, he can absolutely send her to Southeast Asia. If
he can make her disappear and reappear wherever she wants, and she thought she can go back in time. Right? She was confused.
And she took time to ponder that.
Yeah,
that's a terrible answer.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of us would want to go back to that exact time right there. I don't know how many of you had a magical experience right there, but I think of never mind.
SportsCenter is brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, hurry in for the men's wardrobe sale and save 50% on select suit separates, sport coats, dress pants, and more, including big and tall. That's getting your pennies worth, JCPenney. For all the latest headlines and information, tune to the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Go on.
Do you think of the first 10 minutes before having sex? Do you think that is the happiest emotional space in your life?
I'm not going to lie, it was pretty rad. Pretty rad time.
I was a nervous wreck.
No,
I was scared.
Me too.
Let's do this.
Really?
Yeah.
But don't you think Rihanna's saying she wants to go back there because maybe she has regrets about?
Oh, I thought she was saying the opposite, that she was going back there because it was an innocent, happy time before sexuality got in the way of things.
I experienced it as there's some regret with whomever she had sex with.
The leading headline, because that story came via TMZ. TMZ put the headline, Rihanna asked David Copperfield to restore her virginity. So they went in a different direction with that. The 10 minutes before was just me practicing how to put on a condom.
Guillermo, thank you for that information.
I did.
I appreciate it. I did
it's the most confusing thing.
I did it incorrectly. Anyway, I botched that whole thing. And so I remember the fear of that. I'm not doing it right. No, the whole thing. I was right there with you. Well, that's not what I mean. Guillermo, put this on the put this on the poll at Lebatard Show. put this on the poll. 10 minutes before you lost your virginity. Happy time or stressful time?
Oh, man.
I don't know. You mentioned that.
Definitely a drunk time, though, right?
No.
No.
You were sober?
Yeah.
Why
does that strike you as odd? I wasn't even old enough to drink. Wait a minute. What?
Whoa.
What's the matter
How old
with
were
you?
you?
How old were you?
Wait a minute. He was 34 years old. Wait a minute. What do you? All right.
It's later for some of us.
Yeah. I don't. You thought it was normal to get drunk before losing your virginity?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm interested.
It helps. It helps calm the nerves. That's all.
Well, do you mind if I? How old were you?
Wow. I think 15 or 16. 15 or 16.
15 or 16.
I remember the house I was at. Randall Berman's house.
Okay.
Randall Berman?
Wasn't with Randall, but it was Randall Berman's house.
I was just going to ask you, was he gentle? I want to ask you guys about John Bones Jones. How are we going to remember him? Because Lance Armstrong went from hero to disgrace and cheater, but he could have never been that great in a sport where everyone was doping unless he too was doping. And John Bones Jones is, to me, the greatest mixed martial artist I've ever seen, Anderson Silva included. George St. Pierre included.
You don't care about the positive test?
No, because he's the best I've ever seen. I don't know how to apply my moralities to this particular thing. Because in cycling, Lance Armstrong, if he had not been doping, he had to be doping to beat the dopers.
Right.
Here, I don't believe Bones Jones is actually being aided that much. I believe Bones Jones in every incarnation that I've seen him has always been great. So to me, looking at him is like looking at Barry Bonds, where Barry Bonds was great long before the steroids and then became something greater. But to me, the leap isn't even that much. To me, he's the best I've ever seen throughout the arc.
Even if he didn't take steroids.
Even if he didn't take steroids.
There's a reason he takes them.
Yes. Yeah, I know. But what I'm talking about is as a skill set, because while John Bones Jones is indeed strong, strength is not the hallmark of his fighting skills. So it's not like...
It's a tough one to navigate because you saw, I think we all feel pretty confident we saw Barry Bonds without steroids. And what it looked like was 3 NL MVPs. He was great with the Pirates. Mm-hmm. I'm not certain. Have we seen Bones Jones without being enhanced by performance enhancing?
I think we have, but that to me is off to the side. What I'm asking you guys is there anyone whose greatness is so great and whose sport is sketchy enough that you're willing to extend that person? That person is the best I've ever seen, even if he's cheated, because I'm willing to extend that to him, even though he is also a cheater and many of you don't like him. And I'm wondering why it is that I'm doing that and I don't have a reference point for being able to have done it before.
Right. I mean, it's as simple as 2 individuals being locked in a cage. It's as primal as you can get in American athletics.
But is my thinking process, I don't think the people listening, because we can be very judgmental in general about athletes and sports and cheating. I think many people listening right now will say John Bones Jones isn't the best ever because I think he's a jerk and no more discerning than that. Or John Bones Jones isn't the best ever because he cheated and you don't like him and no more discerning than that. But I'm asking if any of you listening right now are willing to make the concession I am. That's the best I've ever seen. And it doesn't matter to me whether he cheated or not. He's still the best I've ever seen.
I'm willing to make that concession. I mean, I trust you guys when it comes to UFC and MMA because you guys consume it and watch it a lot more than I do, but I've made that concession with Bonds. I know what Bonds did, and he's still the greatest baseball player I've ever seen, period.
Bonds, because I assume he did it in a time where everybody, including the pitchers, were.
Yeah, except Bonds isn't in the Hall of Fame, right? So that one doesn't happen that often.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Obviously not the same level of prestige associated with the UFC Hall of Fame, but I'm not sure how the people that vote on that would approach a case study like John Bones Jones. It's weird because this isn't a case. Normally when something like this happens and derails a career, it's about promise that's undelivered. You never got to see maximum potential, but he's already arguably, you can make a very solid argument, the greatest MMA fighter of all time.
Mike, you love soccer, right? So if Lionel Messi or Ronaldo, if it was revealed that they tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, would you still say those are the best soccer players I've ever seen?
Yeah, I'd still say that.
Because I do it with Tiger Woods. Like, if it came across the scroll right now that Tiger Woods had been taking steroids the entire time, I'd still say, okay, well, still the greatest golfer I've ever seen.
So why are we doing it there, though, and we wouldn't do it? Well, you're not going to do it for Sean Merriman. Sean Merriman won Defensive Player of the Year. He won Defensive Player of the Year. He was doing steroids. Everyone invalidated the merit of what it is that he had achieved.
But I would have done it with Lawrence Taylor. Maybe Merriman just had one good year.
I mean, Messi kind of does have, it's not a scandal because he was born very small. He did have to take human growth hormone to grow into, and he's still very tiny, to grow into what he is now.
Why did John Gruden just make an appearance?
I don't know, man. I love Leo Messi. It's crazy how they play with the ball at their feet and they pass it to a guy, but they can't use their hands, man. I like hands. Talk about hands, man.
Where is Mel Kiper? Can we get Mel Kiper to talk about his changed hair? We've got 15 minutes left in the show. Mel, call the show, make the announcement about what's going on with your hair, and get out of here.
I don't think he's a fan of ours anymore. Really? I don't. I think we did something with Mel when we were asking him to chime in with the Frank Caliendo and my fake Mel Kiper Jr. that he's just like, enough with these guys.
Wow.
That's what he was that. Robert and
Can we get to the bottom of this?
I mean, why is it? All right, can we get the list? Can we get the complete list of people at ESPN who are mad at us? It starts with Teddy Bruschi. Who else?
Pretty much all the NFL people.
Yeah, is Brunell still with us?
I'm not.
He's still mad at us.
All the Major League Baseball. This is ridiculous. Okay, Major League Baseball, I'm going to call you out right now, Major League Baseball.
Oh, they hate us.
Your teams need to at least get back to us on a request. You're trying to grow the sport. We don't talk about your sport. We make interview requests, and only 5 of them get back to us, and it's a no.
Hold on a second. Is Mark Brunell still at the network?
I'm on it.
I don't know.
Really?
We're all
Ask
Googling.
Liam.
He's not there. He's not there right now.
Oh, for the love of God! We're
going to figure this out together. We're going to make it through this.
How did Mark Brunell become where he at?
We're going to make it through this together. Hang on.
He's a current head coach at it's like a high school or something.
High school or something?
Yeah, in Jacksonville.
All right, we come back with the number of people at ESPN who are mad at us.
Show me the money.
I want a complete list.
The list is short of people that like us.
Yeah, let's make that list.
Yeah, it's an easier list.
It's much easier for me to do.
Yeah.
I can give you the list of the people that like us, and you can just assume everybody that's not on that list hates us.
Yeah.
Is anyone else shocked that Brunell is no longer with us?
Still alive.
Shocked he's coaching high school ball.
He's alive.
How am I supposed to answer that? That's a no-win.
Don't get caught out on the street with no tools to change a flat tire with your spare. Get those tools at Advanced Auto Parts. Tell them GOTS.
Yep. Are you the kind of person who'd rather be in your garage under the hood? Mike, do you have an update here? Do you have an update on Mark Brunell?
I have an update.
All right.
I was told we're pretty sure he isn't. Which is not a...
What kind of update is that?
Shouldn't be the official answer. We're pretty sure.
Whose answer is that?
Liam ran back from the hallway.
Was he out of breath?
I hope to God he's right. It's going to be awkward for Liam.
This place, why is everyone so disposable at this place?
What happened, Liam?
It would be very awkward, wouldn't it?
Does he still work there or not?
Well, at least you were quicker in getting back to us than that whole Rick Riley thing that took us 3 weeks to find out if he was still cashing checks.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
There is how many? Wait a minute. How many Milton from Office Spaces do you think are at Disney or at ESPN? Is Brunell at a chair somewhere in a lower office still collecting a check and wondering why nobody's put him on television in 3 months?
Just waiting in the green room. All right, anyway, we'll get to the bottom of Brunell. Hopefully after the break.
Dan Le Batard.
A standing ovation for Meryl Streep. Hey, come on. She's been nominated 20 times, and she's won 3. She's a 150 career hitter. Very bad per. Streep.
Stugotz.
150, Dan. I get you back, sent back to the minors within a week. She's Buddy Biancalana. My sense is you agree with me on this.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Give me the list of people at ESPN who hate our show. Brunell does not count because we have now learned that he is no longer at ESPN. So it's Teddy Bruschi.
Yeah, it's most of College Game Day, if not all.
Oh, I think all.
Is it Jeff Saturday? Jeff Saturday?
Jeff Saturday
does not like us.
Is that it? Is that the list?
No, that's not the. That's not
just
the
getting
list.
started,
We have
man.
entire divisions that aren't fans of ours.
All shows.
Yeah.
We really are the outsiders, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anybody else at ESPN has fellow ESPN people disliking them as much as we do?
That's an interesting question because I wouldn't necessarily know because if I were in Bristol, I'd have a better gauge of that.
Can Liam answer that question?
Liam, are you interested in answering this question?
Sure.
All right. Well,
that didn't sound like
Stephen
an
A's got to be one, right?
Say again?
Stephen A's got to be up there.
Okay.
He's got to love us.
Oh, what do you mean?
No,
People,
no, no.
in terms
Stephen
of
A.
people
loves
not
us.
liking him?
I think he's talking about people not liking Stephen A.
Yeah, Stephen A.
Yeah,
because he's bombastic and opinionated.
I would imagine he would be beloved up there.
Oh man, people. Stephen A's
He's so
polarizing.
lovable, man. Yeah, but he's lovable. And honestly, I mean, he is making all our jobs easier because he provides us with so much content. We should all be applauding Stephen A. Smith and loving and hugging Stephen A. Smith because he's great at what he does.
All right, go ahead and update the polls, and let me offer a very sincere public apology. Liam, I just put you in a horrible spot there, and I'm deeply sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Gave you an answer though.
So bad.
It was terrible.
Wouldn't be the first time you put Liam in a difficult spot.
I go to Liam for the first time
Liam
on the
lives
microphone.
in difficult spots.
I go to Liam for the first time in like 18 months. I go to him directly, and it was with the question that he felt obligated to answer, which is, who else at ESPN is someone who's hated? I'm so sorry. I'm really genuinely sorry for what is an intergalactically bad judgment by me. Let's update the polls today at Batard Show. I'm sincerely sorry. I did not do that on purpose.
The Twitter poll is brought to you by Upside. Now say big on travel and get a big gift card every trip you buy. You love Upside.com. That is Upside.com. Is 3rd down and 7 the most important thing in Jim McElwain's life?
Was that today?
Yeah.
We had that conversation today.
We sure did. Okay. Before the show, I think even.
Okay.
80% of the audience said yes.
Okay, because he said sometimes here's Jim McElwain in his own droning, boring words.
You know, sometimes 3rd down and 7 is not the most important thing in life.
Are stop signs overrated? Arash said that during the local hour. 52% of the audience said yes. Jerk or no jerk? Mowing your lawn at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. 54% of the audience said no jerk. Was asking your neighbors for help preparing for Irma the first time you spoke to your neighbors? 67% of the audience said yes.
Hey, can you help me move something? What's your name again? My favorite local story like that, I've told you this before, is on Star Island out here on South Beach. A mad Shaq got because a woman nearby thought that Shaq was cleaning up debris, had been hired to clean up debris. And she comes out, hey, can you do my yard next? He's like, man, I live here. Yeah, she just assumed. She assumed that Shaq was the gardener.
Will you watch a Nicolas Cage movie no matter what? 69% of the audience, sorry, Mike, they said no.
Nice.
Should Mel Kiper be fired for changing his hair? 68% of the audience said yes. Is Mel Kiper still Mel Kiper? 64% of the audience said no.
Can't imagine why he doesn't like us.
Does your significant other consult you before they change their hairstyle? 54% of the audience said no. Did ESPN blow an enormous opportunity at viewership by not making Mel Kiper's new hairstyle reveal a big event? 87% of the audience said yes. Mm-hmm. Who's a worse chanter, Dan or Bill Belichick? This is, I mean, seriously, 51% of the audience said Belichick.
No days off.
Brian Kelly was 4-8 last year.
No days.
4-8. For Nick Cage. 4-8.
Was 10 minutes before you lost your virginity a happy time or a stressful time? 52% of the audience said it was stressful. Mm-hmm. Those are the polls.
Man. Oof. That's as good as we can do right there. That's it. Let's have a cigarette and a sandwich.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges,